And talking about my town, I grew up in a small suburban town. It was all kind of surrounded by developing farm fields and things like that. So I used to complain that my town was really boring and such, and that was my inside joke for everything. But actually, I haven't been back to my hometown in over 40 years. So I'm sure it's changed a lot since then. Every time I came home during college, they put a new stoplight somewhere. So I knew things were changing. The farm field across the street from my house, well, they put in a subdivision and put in a bunch of houses. So I'm sure it's a lot different than what I remember. So maybe I'll just keep from going back there and just try to remember it the way it was.
I grew up in a town called Framingham, Massachusetts. It had all horses and farms and very small area that I grew up in. It reminds me a lot of The Play, which is about community.
I grew up in Downey on a cul-de-sac. All the kids in the neighborhood would come out and draw Disneyland on the asphalt, and we would take our bikes and ride it like we were on a ride. We'd play kick the can. We'd play hide and go seek. Everybody knew everybody's name. It was glorious. Having a community that you can trust and go to the neighbors to borrow eggs or flour or just to talk to, I think is important.
I came from a very small town in Colorado, Leadville, Colorado, the highest city in the continental United States. And I'm telling you, this play, when I read it, everything about it was my town. We had a post office that was a combination of the city hall and the post office. We had the first congregational church. Everything in the first monologue is my town. And it just hit me hard. And so when I went to visit there a month and a half ago, I thought, well, I'm from our town, but it's my town.
And I grew up in a little town of about 900 people, little farm town in northern Illinois called Antioch, Illinois. And there were 4 churches in town, and I went to a one-room schoolhouse. That was my first school. One teacher teaching all 8 grades. And the nice thing about our town is that whenever a church had a function, everybody in town came. And that was, and everybody knew everybody else's business too.
And I'm from a very small town in the north of Wales, in the UK, called Caernarfon. From the outside looking in, it could easily be described as a place that has a lot of rain, a lot of grass, and a lot of sheep. But I know it as a place that has a lot of love for our community, a place of beautiful scenery, being on the coast and having the mountains, a place of culture. We have a very big castle in the middle of our town square, which you cannot not notice. The play itself is timeless, and I find the importance of it in today's day as media heavily focuses on the bigger pictures within the world. We do let the ordinary stuff slip through our fingers, and I noticed that after moving out to LA, having that big jump, as much as I love it out here, I never did appreciate those little things of my town. And this big jump has definitely allowed me to see that now when I go home, I definitely can and definitely need to appreciate those little things that I never did when living there.
I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and Chicago is a town of neighborhoods. It's actually a lot of little towns in one big city. So I think a lot of that is like our town. Our town at least teaches me that we need to stay present and to see what's going on in our lives every single day and not worry about the future, even though there are so many things to worry about. So that's the lesson it teaches me.
And I'm originally from the village of Kenmore, just outside of Buffalo, New York, home of the Bills and the Sabres. Hey! A couple of things that describe Buffalo right off the bat is, well, it's cold, it's chilly, so the people are warm there. We got excellent food. Our wings and pizza is some of the best in the world, and we love our sports. We love our Bills, we love our Sabres, and Buffalo is a brand of its own. One of the things that describes Buffalo and the community around them is, well, we're really helpful to each other. It does snow a lot there, so sometimes we are trapped in our houses or we have to help other people get out of their driveways, and nobody's ever afraid to lend a hand to a neighbor. Our Town the Play is important to our times because it's just another reminder that you're part of a community and that community is what shapes you.
I am from York, Pennsylvania, home of the Peppermint Patty. It's a small town, and I grew up in a neighborhood, a suburban neighborhood, with a lot of kids, and we all went to elementary school, high school, all together. I still stay in touch with them, many of them on Facebook or social media. So there's something about a small town that never leaves home.
You know, there's a lot of similarities between the town I grew up in, Ames, Iowa, and Grover's Corner in the play. Ames is a college town surrounded by cornfields. I was there in the 50s and 60s, baby boomer. You know, like in the play, fathers went to work, most mothers stayed home. And we kids, and our dogs, because there were no leash laws, we had the run of the town. We'd get on our bikes and go everywhere. The movies, the parks, the playgrounds. If we wanted to go to a little grocery store, get something, we'd say, put it on our tab. And they'd do that because everybody knew everybody. And with a slew of different denominations to choose from, everybody went to church on Sunday. That's community. You didn't step in Doggish, because it's a pretty good place to live.
I grew up in a big city, Los Angeles, and then after college I moved to another big city, New York. And what I found when I was in New York was that it is like the play. It's like I went to the deli every morning, and the guy behind the counter knew my order, and he knew that I was getting an egg and cheese sandwich and a coffee with 2 sugars, and there were other things like that, everywhere in town. It seemed like a small town, and so, I sort of think of New York as my adopted hometown. So that's my town, our town.
And I grew up in Irvington, New Jersey, and my girlfriend and I, during the summers, we would go out in the morning, and then we never would come home until it was dinner time at night when the sun went down. It was safe. We went to Olympic Park pool, and I learned how to swim there, and we walked everywhere, alone or with a friend. It was safe. It was caring.
And I'm from Springfield, Illinois, and this is my connection with art. When I was in high school, the plan was to go to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, but my drama teacher, Ms. Yarnig, said, no, you're not. You are going to the neighborhood playhouse. Well, I was 17, going on 11, so I had no idea. Okay. So I wrote to the neighborhood playhouse, and they said, you have to do a monologue, and I had to go to some little town outside of Chicago. I was supposed to do 2 monologues, and I can't remember the other monologue, but my main monologue was Emily from our town. And they got in. So hey, that was kind of a neat thing. And so many years later, here I am finally doing the whole play, Our Town. I'm not playing Emily anymore.